I wanted to be a behavior specialist. And that was pastoral counseling took me down that lane.
Well, we do thank you once again for coming, giving us the best counseling you can. We hope this conversation gives you and everyone else who is watching the much needed advice that they needed. And with that being said, I hope we can continue.
Yes, sir. So is it my time?
I believe so.
Thanks a lot. I'm excited about this opportunity that was provided to me through the great university that you all attend, and also through Runna. And to have an opportunity like this is exciting for me, because something I've always wanted to do my entire life was to build people, because I had great parents who built me, even though I didn't always pay attention to what they were doing and didn't always use the materials that they gave me. Excuse me. So I want everyone really, as Route had said, we recognize it is Black History Month. And I like to look at Black History Month through the lens of Black future reality, because it is most difficult for us to move forward looking back. You see, you don't have to look back. African Americans, we don't have to look back when you are consciously aware. Now, notice I said consciously aware, because when you're consciously aware about something, you can be intentional about achieving. So when you're consciously aware that the history, now check this out now, the history of the African American, the history of the African is the foundation on which world history is built. So why should I have to look back to Black history when I can look forward to the future that individuals like yourselves, because we need you young people, charting a course for us so that we can continue to build the next generation and the next generation and the next generation, that people can truly, the world can truly understand the importance of the African and the importance of being politically correct, the African American. And so today I wanted to take this opportunity to share with you all something that's very important to me, and that success. Success is very important to me, but not success that's compared to
want to pull out for our first
what other people do. That's not success. Success is not measured by you being compared, or what you do being compared to what others do. But success, real success. Now we're talking about real success. So there's success and then there's real success. Real success has 4 themes that accompany it. Success just has a desire for the individual who wants it to pursue it for themselves. But real success now has more to do, or is measured by, what you do compared to what you were created to do. Now just think about that for a minute. Just think about that for a minute, because that's going to take us into these 5 existential questions that are going to be the foundation on which we build our engagement today. So when I think about my success, I don't want to compare it to what Miles has done. I don't want to compare it to what Route has done. I don't want to compare it to what Jalen or Christina has done. I want my success to be compared to what I was created to do. Well, then that causes me to have to answer the first existential question of who am I? That question of identity. You know, in the world today, people are doing a lot of experimenting with themselves because we really don't know who we are. We get the job, we become a doctor, that's who we say we are. We become a professor. We achieve that. That's who we say we are. We become a sanitation engineer. That's who we say we are. But when the do is gone, who are we? Who are you? Who are you when the job is there no more? That's something to think about. Even just asking yourself right now, if you ask yourself right now, who am I? What would you put on the piece of paper? Have you pondered that? Have you given that any thought? As a behavioral health clinician, that's one of the things that we always try to help people discover, other than what they've been labeled as depression, anxiety, ADHD, whatever their diagnosis is. That's not who they are. That's something they're encountering at a certain time. So that first question of who am I, the question of identity. Now, what about the second question? Where am I from? You know, down through our matriculating through school, we've been told that we were tadpoles that crept up on a rock, became a salamander, became a frog, which became a man, all this old wild stuff. That's not who we are. That's not where we're from. So where we're from, where are you from? That's a question of heritage. Where are you from? Because that's your source. Your self-worth is tied directly to where you are from. So number 3, and these questions will be like thread woven through the fabric of our conversation today that's going to hold it together. So the third question, why am I here? Why are you here on this earth? Why are you here? If you don't know why you're here, you won't know where you're going. If you don't know why you're here, you won't know what you're supposed to be doing. So you find yourself like I was at one time when I entered college. I was studying this. Then I changed my degree. I'm studying that. That's because I didn't know what road to take. I didn't know why I was here. So the 5 questions that I'm talking to you all about today are the same 5 questions that challenged me, that challenged the world, that challenged governments. These 5 questions challenged the man under the bridge. These 5 questions challenged the man in the penthouse. These 5 questions struggle. They bring about frustration for many. People are upset with people, not because someone did something to them. That's the excuse. The reason they're upset because they don't know who they are. They don't know where they're from. They don't know why they're here. And number 4, they don't know what they can do. We're talking about your potential now. What can you do? Ask yourselves these questions, ladies and gentlemen. Answer these questions for yourself. You will find it most difficult for you to answer these questions at this present time, not because the questions are difficult, but because we haven't been intentional and consciously aware of these questions. What has happened to us for the most part is that when we were born, this is some of the difficulty that many people have during the course of their lives. When we were born, we didn't have a belief system. Our belief system was developed for us or written on the blank screen of our mind by our parents and by those who we engaged with. And those things, as very young people, you're around a lot of young kids today, small young kids who believe they can do anything. Because a little child will, a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, declare they can walk up and down the steps. And they can't walk up and down a flight of steps the way that they need with being safe about it. Young kids believe that they can do so much. But here comes that adult with some experience who shares with them, who caps their potential by telling them, you can't do that. See, they cap their potential. You can't do that versus taking them by the hand and walking them up those steps. See, walking them back down those steps, showing them that they can do it, but it's going to require a little help. And one day you will be able to do it on your own. When I was growing up, one of the things that shaped my belief system, my father never told me what I couldn't do. That's why I'm bold, because my father never told me what I couldn't do. He always shared with me. I could have said, Dad, I can jump off the house and fly. He would have said, well, make sure you're flapping your arms hard enough. And that's what we have to do with people. We have to encourage, we have to inspire, we have to push people to be successful, to be all that they believe they can be. Number 5, where are you going? It's a question of destiny. Where are you going? See, when you know where you're going, you know what roads not to take. Ponder that for a minute. Ask yourself the question, where am I going? Demarcus, where am I going? Elijah, where am I going? Miles, where am I going? Adriana, where am I going? You've got to go back and answer these 5 existential questions so that you can become a real success. Now let's bridge on over or walk across the bridge that we built to how to become a real success. The R in real stands for relationships. If I want to become a real success, I have to establish the right relationships. Now consider some of the people that you have relationships with right now that you call friend, because that's a word we throw out there very easily. That's my friend. Well, what has that person done to earn that friendship? Relationships. Success is about relationships. Success is knowing my purpose in life. And when I know my purpose in life, I know those who need to be involved in the purpose for my life. I have an understanding of how to build the right relationships. And the greatest relationship that you can establish on the face of this earth, and this is another thing that we find, or I run into so often when conducting therapy sessions. The human dilemma is people don't have relationships with themselves. Now, ask yourself a question. How is your relationship with you? Consider that now. How is your relationship? What dialogue have you created with yourself? What do you tell yourself about you? Do you tell yourself I can't, or do you tell yourself I can? Do you tell yourself I'm awesome, or do you tell yourself, well, I'm this and that? What positive things do you tell you? What concept do you have about yourself? Most importantly, what is your precept about you? What is your original idea about you? Because if that relationship is not solid, the relationship you have with you, then every other relationship you try to develop, because it will be most difficult to develop a relationship with others because you don't have a relationship with you. And check this out, you with you all day long. You can't leave you over here and go over there. You got to take you everywhere you go. So how to become a real success, how to be a real success, develop a relationship, the right relationship with you. Create a dialogue with yourself that's directly connected to question number 2 that you have to answer. Where am I from? See, when you know where you're from, you know your source, and your self-worth is connected directly to your source. That's good news right there. See, success is growing to my maximum potential. I do that when I'm in the right relationship, because the person that I'm in relationship with, first of all, I'm telling me I can and I can do it. Then the people around me are telling me, Tony, you can do it. Tony, keep going. Tony, you know you can handle this right here. You need those kind of people around you to become a real success. Success is sowing seeds that benefit others. What kind of seeds are you sowing with you first and foremost? Then what kind of seeds are you sowing in the lives of others? We're talking about real success. We're talking about success that becomes significance. And notice, everybody in the world wants to be a success. I haven't run into anybody. I haven't run into anybody, Miles, who has said, I'm going to wake up this morning, I'm going out to fail. Everybody wants to be a success. And why is that? Because you were designed for success. Yes, you were designed for success. You were designed. I've never seen a bird that couldn't fly naturally. I've never seen a fish that couldn't swim. They were designed for success. You, the greatest creation ever, were designed for success. See, in the relationships you develop, you have some people that add to your life, some people that subtract from your life, some people that multiply, and then you have those that divide. You have to make the decision as to who you are going to allow in your life to be on that journey to reaching your full potential. You have to make that decision. And as I said earlier, you see, you must love and accept yourself. See, if you don't love and accept yourself, man, you're going to have a difficult time on this side. You're going to have a difficult time in the workplace. You're going to have a difficult time in the classroom. And the whole while, you know how we do. We know the truth, but we won't tell ourselves the truth. We'll just blame somebody else because that's easier. You know, one of the most difficult things to do, I was sharing with one of my therapists yesterday, I was sharing with her. I said to her, one of the most difficult things to do is to operate on yourself. I can go to the dentist's office, or if I had to go into surgery, I don't have a problem allowing that person, and I'm not saying I'm glad to go into surgery, I'm glad to go to the dentist, but I'm not having an issue with that person really operating on me because they're going to give me an anesthetic. But when I have to deal with Tony, when Tony has to operate on Tony, there's no anesthesia. There is nothing to absorb the pain. I've got to deal with me and the truth that I know about me that you don't know. See, I can't fool me. I got to be with me all day, as I said. I can't fool me. But I can surely fool you. But at the end of the day, I've got to deal with Tony. So how to be a real success? Relationships, the right relationships. Learn how to value people. Truly value people. Make yourself more valuable to people. Know and relate to what they value. That's the best way to value people, is to become interested in what they're interested in. Become interested in them, then become interested in what they're interested in. People want to be around people who value them. And when you all get out into the workplace, into the professional world, you're going to find out that the Stanford Research Institute says that the money that we earn, the success that companies have, 87% of that is people knowledge. See, 13% of that is product knowledge, but 87% is people knowledge. You can't get to know other people if you don't know you. And you've got to spend time with you to get to know you. The E in how to be a real success, equipping. Equipping. You see, great leaders grow their visions from me to we. Because I understand I can't do it. I have a staff of 30 persons, licensed clinical addiction specialists, licensed clinical social workers, licensed professional counselors, licensed marriage and family therapists. And we serve over 300 families a year who have youth between the ages of 10 and 18 who display at-risk behaviors in the home, the school, or in the community. I can't be with all of those families. So I have to have individuals who are capable, who have a passion about it, and who love people, and who see people already past the finish line with the flag waving. I would ask you all who bar was that, but I might put some of you on the spot. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, you know, Jay-Z, you know how he does it. Equipping. You see, it's hard work, but you got to do it. What are you doing? What are you reading? What are you studying to equip yourself for what you say you want? Now, you say you want it, but what are you doing to arrive? And not just to arrive, but check this out, arrive on time. See, because you want to arrive on time. And when you know who you are, when you know where you're from, when you know why you're here, when you know what you can do, and when you know where you're going, you can arrive on time. Equipping. Just think, how many books are you reading a month? Now, not the books that you have to read for school, but those books that you know you're going to need in order to be competitive. See, the world is competitive. When I came out of school, I was prepared mentally when it came to knowing me, but I wasn't focused. And that lack of being focused, my father shared with me, because he knew me well. I'm the oldest of 5 youth. He knew me well. So he said, hey, son, what I'm going to allow you to do is go to Federal State for the first year. I wanted to get to A&T. I'm allow you to go to school for the first year at Federal State. You make great grades, A&T, you on your way. I went to Federal State for that first year. Made the chancellor's list, man. I was doing it. Got the opportunity to go to A&T. Got on A&T campus, standing Scott Hall on the bottom floor. I was there. I got there, I think about in July August, September, October, November, I was in Fort Knox, Kentucky in the United States Army because I had flunked out of school. Wasn't focused. I think I had like a 1.5 GPA. See, when you lose focus, when you don't equip yourself, you can slide down that pole faster than climbing up it. So you have to stay focused. The third letter, A, attitude. The most important one, I believe that it anchors even the last letter, L, the leadership, because attitude. It has been said by Hugh Downs that a happy person is not a person with a certain set of circumstances, but rather a person with a certain set of attitudes. Now, when we talk about attitudes, we're talking about a set way of thinking. I was a paratrooper in the United States Army. When I went into the military, I went in as an unassigned ranger to the 2nd 75th Ranger Battalion. Then I came back to Fort Bragg in the 82nd Airborne, then went to the 118th Military Police Company, but I was a paratrooper. So we jumped out of airplanes while in flight. So anytime that you went on the aircraft, you saw a lot of instruments in the instrument panel. But there's one instrument that the pilot keeps his eyes on at all times. And that instrument, this is wow, that instrument is called the attitude indicator. Now, an airplane has an attitude indicator. That attitude indicator shares with you the relationship between the plane and the horizon. So if the nose of the plane is pointed up, I'm at an upward attitude. I'm going up. But if the nose of the airplane is pointed down, then you know where we're headed. So the relationship between the airplane and the horizon being known by the attitude indicator, you too have an attitude indicator. And you have to make a choice relative to life's horizon, the direction that you're going in. No one can make that for you. You can be in the worst situation ever and have the best attitude because you're asking yourself, what can I learn from this? Anytime you become a student in the issues of life, when confronted with the issues of life, and you position your attitude to ask yourself the question, what can I learn from this? Everything changes. Everything changes. And not only that, you attract people and you add value to them. Because in tough situations, everybody is looking for a leader. Everybody is looking for the one that's pointed north. In any given situation, people want to be with people who are going somewhere. And you go places when you have the right attitude. Psychologists have found that when people are appraised for promotions in companies, by companies, company executives look at a person's ambition. They look at a person's skills. They look at a person's attitude toward the company. So think about it from this perspective. What is your attitude toward your professors? What is the professor's attitude toward their students? What is your attitude toward your university? What is your attitude toward your family? What is your attitude toward you? Now, I believe we're talking some good stuff here now. I had to learn these things, and I'm still learning because I consider myself a student. because there are things, there are doors that I haven't gone through yet. And I've got to be prepared to enter those doors when they are open. And so I have to have the right attitude, because there may be a door that opens that Tony, does not think that's the door because of what Tony sees with his eyes. See, the brain experiences the world through the five senses. Anytime one of those five senses are dominating the choices you and I have to make, we are allowing ourselves to be abused. You allow the sense of taste to become an issue for you and you don't dominate it, you're going to gain weight, you're going to get sick, you end up in the hospital, you end up having diabetes or something, but you're going to have some issues. You have to dominate the senses. You have to dominate the senses, and you have to have the right attitude to do so. You see, leadership, everyone on this call is a leader. Why? Because leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. That's leadership. Influence. Leadership is not about being out in front of people. No. Leadership is about influence. Can you influence people to join you on the idea you have in such a way that they are passionate enough to push just as hard as you're pushing? Attitude towards people. This is one of the things that company executives look for in people. Attitude toward the company, attitude toward people, attitude toward excessive demands of time and energy. When I became the national director of Protect America, a national alarm company, and we were in competition with Tyco, who owned ADT. And I was the first Black executive that they had. And the company is based out of Round Rock, Texas. And the climate there wasn't the best climate for persons of my complexion. So there were a lot of struggles that they had. I didn't have any because Tony knew who he was. And I knew what I was capable of doing because, as I said, my father taught me from a little boy exactly who I was. And he taught me the value of an idea. That's the number one thing my pop taught me and is still teaching me is the value of an idea. Everything around us, everything around you where you are right now, if you look around that room, everything in that room came from an idea. An idea is valuable. But at my time at Protect America, I had to deal with a lot of stuff coming my way. But in order for me to matriculate to the top of that ladder, I always had to ask myself many times during the course of the day, what can I learn from this? Because there were individuals who hated the fact that the CEO, Thad Pascal, chose me for that position. And when you have the right attitude, people will see that. Company leaders want people like you with the best attitude because you put the company in a position to grow. And everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to be somebody. The last letter, leadership, L. You know, leadership is one of those things that you can look in many books and find different definitions for. Everybody has their so-called definition of leadership or what a leader is. And I always look at what I'm a John Maxwell leadership development trainer. So I travel in and out of the company teaching leadership development skills to corporate America, trying to help companies stay in the black. And when I go in to work with these companies, I don't focus on policies and procedures. I don't focus on the paperwork, because for the most part, that's where we've been indoctrinated to focus, because that's what we think is getting the company where it needs to get to. Policies and procedures, you must have them, but you also must have something through which they flow. Someone who can bring life to the reality of what you have put on paper. So the law of the lid, we look at the John Maxwell team, we look at the law of the lid. The leadership ability determines a person's level of effectiveness. We look at the law of process. Leaders develop daily, not in one day. So leaders are always working on being better. They're always working on maximizing their potential. And your potential is not what you have already done. That's your success. But you want to get into that arena of potential and maximizing it. There should be something new about you that you achieve every single day. Potential is that which lies dormant in you. Potential is that untapped talent, that unused energy. And it's there. Every one of you has it. You were sent here with it. Remember, I told you, you were designed for success. You see, we overestimate a lot of things, and we underestimate the process. We overestimate the event, and we underestimate the process. The secret to our success, ladies and gentlemen, is what we do daily. And if you don't remember anything else, remember that today matters. Today matters. You know, bumblebees, scientifically, they're said bumblebees aren't supposed to fly because of the, size of their body and their wingspan. And, according to the law of aerodynamics, it's just not supposed to happen. But see, no one told the bumblebee about that theory. See, when you don't allow people to come into your life and tell you what you can't do, all things are possible to him or her who believes. Now, I want to thank you for the time that you've given me to, share some things with you. One thing that I know that I'm here to inspire and encourage people. And I focus on inspiring and encouraging myself first and foremost. And I want you all to know and truly understand, I'm excited every time I see young people. I'm in the music industry also, and I see a lot of things that I don't like, and I see where our culture is going. And this morning I was watching television, watching several commercials. Every commercial that came on had a hip hop flavor. Every commercial, from soup, cereal, pillows, everything had a hip hop flavor. So what does that tell me? That tells me, since I'm versed on the history of hip hop, that our culture has the ability to lead, because hip hop is the most influential culture today. From the caves of Afghanistan to the corner of the Market Store on Jasper Street in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Hip hop is powerful. So think about what would happen if young people like yourselves would talk to these other young people in hip hop, our young men and our young women, and share with them what it is to become a real success and not to be enslaved by material things. Money's good. I need money. You need money. But money is supposed to work for us. See, money is supposed to work for us. I surround myself with a lot of wealthy people and I listen to them. I don't go in trying to talk to them about, unless I'm invited to speak to them. But any other time when I'm sitting, I'm listening because I want to know how you got to where you are. You see, many of us in the hip hop culture, with some of the currency, the money that flows through the hip hop culture is out of this world. But look at how we've allowed certain things to devalue us. We're better than that, ladies and gentlemen. And we can turn this whole ship around. You can turn this whole ship around. And guess what? I'm counting on you. Thank you very much. I can't hear you.
Thank you so much, Tony, for sharing. Brother Miles, are you there?
Yes, sir. I didn't know I could unmute myself. I thought the host muted me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I believe we have some times for a couple of questions. And let me see if I can get to the chat. If anyone has any questions they would like, feel free to either unmute yourself and ask or just text it in the chat. But besides that, one question that I did have for you, Dr. Hare, was that, like, as of right now, like as a college student and as a student leader, one of the things that I keep, one of the, walls that I keep running into as a college student and as a student leader is trying to encourage other students, like not really preaching to them, but kind of like putting some type of word into them that makes them like, oh, okay. Like, because I meet a lot of students that have this idea or attitude that, they're just here to make good grades and they're gone, or they are just here for the experience. And I want people to understand that when you're in a school like this, a school like ours that is small, it has a few of its own issues. You have to kind of create a bit of culture, and that's a thing that's kind of that I keep running into. So how can I further create like culture and further give other students pride into where they are?
Becoming what you want to teach them. A lot of people consider the five senses. The number one way that things enter or the brain experiences the world, well, the two top ones are sight and hearing. We go more off of what we see versus what we hear. So when people see that you are becoming what you are talking to them about, now you become a mirror. We go to the mirror in our homes or in our bathrooms, or we pull down the mirror in our car and the visor because we want to see, not ourselves. We want to see how to better ourselves. And so when they come to you, each time that you're becoming all that you want to talk to them about, each time they look at you, they'll see the difference, the change, how good you're looking. Now they're looking at themselves and they have to assess where they are. Now they ask you for the reason of the hope that is in you.
That's what I needed right there. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then, so see if anyone else put anything in the chat. All right. So no one had any other questions. Well, one of the things. Oh, go ahead, please.
I got something cool. All right. So for one, thank you for the presentations you had today. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for the presentation you had today.
Yes, sir.
So I'm Marcus Davis. I'm a senior business administration major. I also serve as SA vice president.
Okay.
And it resonated with me when you said, when you were speaking about how you want to find yourself. And I feel that is where I'm at right now. There's a couple different avenues, like professionally I'm looking at. So it's like, and also I play collegiate sports as well. I'm a football player. So it's like,
Okay.
you know, those different identities are, you know, all in one. And I'm just really trying to figure out exactly like who I am outside of everything else I do. So as a college student, what do you, like, you have any tips for me to go about doing that? You know, it's a lot of scheduling, a lot of time, you know, I have to put into all the outside stuff. It's like, sometimes I don't have time for myself. So if you have any tips for that, that would be great.
So I want to make sure I understand your question. So I'm answering the correct question. Is your question how to find yourself, or how to find what you want to do, or how to manage the things that you're doing?
No, it's more of like, yeah, how should I go about finding myself? Like, what do I do? I don't know. When people say that, I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like,
Okay.
Go buy some art supplies or go do, I don't know. what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Let me ask you this question here. How does you have a phone, right? What type of cell phone do you have?
I have an iPhone.
iPhone, okay. Apple made that phone, right? How do you know that Apple created that phone or made that phone?
I mean, branding. When you see the Apple logo.
Is there an image on that phone?
Like an image of
Apple's image is on that phone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we know that the iPhone is an iPhone because of Apple's brand, their image, and Apple told us. So the source of the phone is Apple. And if we want to operate that phone, we have to read the manual that Apple gave with the phone. They gave you a manual. Manu means to make. O, which is really not a word that we use in our vocabulary today, but it means to think. But so it's the maker's mind on paper. Now, that particular cell phone that you have, now listen closely. The image was put on that phone after it was tested. As it went through its testing, when it was found out that the phone could do everything that Apple said it could do, Apple stamped this image on it. We know it's an Apple phone. You wouldn't purchase the phone. When you opened the book, there was a manual for you to read that told you about the phone, what it could do, what it couldn't do, gave you a guarantee, gave you a warranty as you got onto the end. Well, you too were created in an image and according to a likeness. You too have a manual. Have you read your manual? That's the key. That's the answer to the second existential question. Where am I from? My source. Your creator would tell you who you are. Your creator has already shared everything with you. Read your manual. I was the same way. Out of 7.87 billion people in the world, the majority of them do not know or struggle with the same things that you and I have struggled with. I submit to you today. Go to Genesis chapter 1 and 2. Find out who you are. Find out what you're supposed to do. Find out where you're from. Find out where you're going. Then make that a truth in reality. And it really is just that simple, man. A real talk. It's just that simple.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you, bro, and everything that you're doing. My cell number is 919. I'll give you my cell number, man. My cell number is 919-235-8451. Anytime you call me 24/7, bro, all right? I don't care what it is. You just give me a buzz. Hey, I just want to talk about, I want to chop it up about this. Let's talk. about what's going to help you become the best you can be. Because I want you to be the best.
Yes, sir.
You have a smart.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I definitely will be.
Yeah.
All right.
And all right, so all right. I don't know if we have time for this one last question, but I got one last one.
Yes,
So
sir.
one of the things that I guess I'm struggling with personally is understanding and picking and choosing relationships. And so one of the things that you were talking about, well, one of your points earlier was like relationships and the ability to work with others. I guess my real question, how do I decipher, like, well, I call them deadbeat friends. How do I decipher deadbeat friends from people, like deadbeat friends from my circle, but then have people in my circle who are actually like uplifting me? Because it's hard to sometimes tell the difference, especially when you're in college. Like, you don't really know, like, as today, one problem could be the problem. Tomorrow, that problem is so obsolete that you got a new problem, you know? Right, so how do you decipher the deadbeats from the real ones?
Okay, let me put it to you. Let me. Which hall do you stay in on campus?
I stay in the back. I stay in Falkhurst Circle. Okay,
Falkhurst Circle.
Yes, sir. Right. It's kind of like what is it called? Where the boys and girls live together. And
okay. Well, let me put it. Let me ask you this way then. All right. You going to Walmart? You say you going to Walmart, mm-hmm. All right? Now I'm your friend. We've been hanging out and all this and that. And I say, well, I'm going to Walmart with you. You going to Walmart, but I'm going the other direction. Am I going with you?
No.
Huh? So what does that tell you? What does that tell you?
That's the one that got to go.
That's the one that's got to go.
That's the one that's got to go.
If he ain't going in the direction you're going in, what do you need to? And see, they can't add any value. See, to where you're going, they can't lay any uplifting words. Hey, Miles, man, you can do it. Go ahead and go there, man. Man, I'm gonna be cheering you on. They at least got to be able to do that. Because they may want to go to another store to shop. That's fine. But can you push me towards where I'm going?
Right. You just keep dropping the mic, huh? All right.
Look, bro, I've made more errors than you ever gonna make in life because I'm older than you. So I done stepped in no holes, you know what I'm saying?
One of the things I always love about these types of events is like you always have some type of something sitting on your spirit, and then we get like a host like you, and they come and they just drop all the things you needed. And you just like, wow, okay, so I'm just sitting here still, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But once again, we do thank you from the bottom of our hearts for just giving us your words, your time, and your wisdom. And if anyone else would like to say anything before we close out, then now is your time.
I just want to say I appreciate you all having me. And man, I'd love to come in person when the time permits itself, so we can really have illustrations and do things that people walk away knowing that they've already made it. Yeah.
Well, once again, Dr. Harrell, we thank you so much, and we hope that you have a blessed day, and we hope to see you in the future in person someday soon. So thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you much.